Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. Okay, scrap that, it's not at all retro or really even a review today. Instead, I thought I'd take a rather informal look at 5 free-to-play horror games this Halloween. In these uncertain times, a lot of gamers' finances have been affected, so if you're gaming on a budget this Halloween or just a bit of a cheapskate, here are a few of my picks for a spooky night in. Up first, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, or Spooky's House of Jump Scares as I first reviewed it back in 2015. Developed and published by Lag Studios, Spooky's House of Jump Scares quickly gained a strong fan following for its quirky game style. This one is best described as a rather stylish walking simulator with an element of puzzle solving. The premise is fantastically simple in that you must just navigate 1,000 rooms in the Jump Scare Mansion. At its most basic, you'll simply walk down a corridor to the next room. In the later rooms though, the game throws in a bit more sinister jeopardy to accompany your decisions. The game has a rather cute aesthetic and is instantly likeable. The scares themselves start off as rather mundane, but do build to a more sinister climax. I won't spoil anything here as the fun of this one really is all in the journey. Needless to say though that this is fun and even better, it's free. The developers seem to have had great fun making this one. To break up some of the more repetitive nature of the game, there are a few additional features scattered around the rooms, such as the arcade machines. Why not enjoy a bit of Mrs. Spook, or Spooky Cart? Or how about Mall of the Spook, in which you simply build up a stabbing run? Yes, the game does offer some unusual bonus content. The game manages to conjure up a decently creepy atmosphere whilst also holding the gamer's attention for the most part. I have to say though that it's only at a few hundred rooms in that the game really gets going. Although there is clearly a lot of repetition in this game, there is enough here to warrant calling it a horror title, just about. Occasionally you'll find items such as phones. Do they add anything to the story? Do they mean anything at all? It's all up to you to decide.
Hello, I don't know if you want to look directly into the fan. Yes, hello, hello, hi. Hello?
For those that enjoyed this free instalment, there is DLC in the way of Karamari Hospital. Of course, the premise is rather similar, although this time the game takes on a rather clinical feel. Definitely worth a second look for fans of the free edition. I'm also pleased to say that as of this October, the Dollhouse release is also on the market, perhaps worth a look for those that enjoyed this first entry. You'll be able to find this one on the Steam platform, well worth looking into if you're a fan of jump scare style games. For those of you that like a little more action in your horror games, you may be interested in a 2010 release by none other than Valve. It's Alien Swarm. This one is all about the alien hunting. As a highly skilled marine, it's your job to go into a base that has been overrun by aliens. You'll need fast reflexes and also good co-op strategy to get the best out of this one. Graphically, this one still looks rather good, running on the Source SDK. There's a decent array of lighting effects, the sound is appropriately toned, and the gameplay will be enough to keep you coming back for more.
Hacking in progress. Halfway through.
Access granted.
I got movement.
The game features a class system, over 40 unlockable weapons and 8 characters. And when you're done with all that, why not try the level editor that is included in the download? Alien Swarm is a real treat for co-op play. Your team will typically be made up of different classes, whether that be characters strong on offense, a medic or a tech guy. and you'll be needing those different skills too. Low on health? Call in the medic.
As fast as I can. Absolutely.
But to progress, you'll occasionally have to hack security systems, so switch to the tech guy. You'll have to trust your team to cover you whilst you align the code and hack doors. This feels like a very solid offering that harks back to a time gone by. There's a dash of Gauntlet in here, mixed with an obvious inspiration from the Alien Breed games. It really is top notch for a free game. Out of the 5 games on this list today, this is perhaps the one with the most replay value, and overall the most like a traditionally commercial game that you might purchase. The animations are smooth and the action feels well paced. You never quite know how tricky the next room will be, and it makes for some great gameplay. I really enjoyed my time with Alien Swarm. Its controls are intuitive enough to simply pick up and play, whilst the co-op elements of the multiplayer definitely add to the longevity of the game. It's fun and frantic and a solid entry on today's list. Head over to Steam if you like what you see here and download for free. My next recommendation comes in the way of Medusa's Labyrinth by Guru Games. As the developers put it, Medusa's Labyrinth is a very short mythological first-person horror game set in ancient Greece. It takes myths and legends that have stayed with us for over 2,000 years and mixes them together in a game that blends horror with stealth. Now, this is a game that really has legs, or at least a slithering body. It was clearly planned to be a much larger title, but was released as a free-to-play experience instead. Revenue from the game coming from the DLC pack in the Collector's Edition that expands the game. Or why not check out the VR edition if you have the means? There's something quite charming about this one. It has a dash of action, a sprinkle of puzzle solving, and a suitably creepy environment. The game starts off at a fairly slow pace. You'll be reading the notes left by previous adventurers and putting together a picture of what happened here. The graphics look particularly good for an indie release, and I really enjoyed my playthrough. The game is written on the Unreal Engine, so the game feels very smooth. Although, if I'm honest, some of the assets do look rather generic in places. This is a free indie game though, so I'm sure we can all appreciate that there were initial budget limitations. It's not all out scares, but there was a lot of attention to detail here in the development, so I can recommend this one for the curious. It reminds me partially of the Ocarina of Time temples in its puzzle elements, and has subtle elements akin to the original Amnesia title. It even seems to borrow the lean mechanics. Expect to be lighting torches that will expire, use your trusty bow, and hiding when necessary. The game isn't going to give you too many shocks, and I'd describe it best as a slow burner, as it rarely reveals the enemies for too long, instead opting for that unpredictable sense of dread from the player. Your character will walk and even sprint at a snail's pace, but it does add to the tension of the experience. In an indie horror scene awash with generic corridor walkers and jump scares, Medusa's Labyrinth really stands out as something a little bit different. If you enjoyed Amnesia but crave a more mythological setting, Medusa's Labyrinth will have you covered. Either way, check this one out for some mythological scares. But what if you're just not into action stealth games? Well, this next one might just be more your pace. It's a game by Pixel Maniacs, and I would urge you to give this one a go. It's obviously the most low budget production on this list, but perhaps the most fun. As any parent will tell you, mealtimes are often fraught with challenges when you have young children, But what if you happen to be a family of zombies? Dip and Flip sees you portioning out Brain Loop cereal to your 4 zombie children. The controls are as basic as they get, although I'm yet to master this one. Right click will see you delve into the cereal box, whilst holding down the left mouse button and pulling back slingshot style will allow you to fling the cereal pieces. The aim being to land the cereal in the children's bowls. It's all rather whimsical and light-hearted. There's a good chance that you'll find this one frustrating, but it's all part of the charm. Getting the distance spot on is a real challenge, but incredibly addictive. Shake your fingers too hard and you'll lose them. It's all nonsense, but I can't help but come back for more. I had some great fun with this one, and it was just what I was looking for. It was something a little bit different to play. You can download this one or simply play in your browser. I'll add the links in the description below. Scary stuff. Of course, this one is all very cute and family friendly. This is Halloween though, so I just had to throw this next game into the mix, a game simply known as September 1999. As the game's description says, it's a free VHS style first person found footage horror game, which runs for exactly 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Upon its release, I remember being absolutely intrigued by this one, as it just looks so different from other games due to its VHS aesthetic. Now, the game only lasts 5 minutes and 30 seconds, so I really don't want to show you too much at all, as pretty much showing anything here is a spoiler. This is definitely one you simply have to play. What I can tell you though is that there's virtually no context and no clear goal from the start, and that's how you should approach this one. It's simply you, whoever you are, in a room and a corridor. You can stagger around, view the hallway and zoom the camera in with the right mouse button, and that's it. Could it be that things are not all as they seem though? It really is your job as the player to work out the real meaning of the game. In an oversaturated market of found footage horror movies and endless corridor walking indie games, I was prepared to quickly dismiss this one. However, I would have been wrong to do so, as September 1999 somehow manages to shake off the oversaturation of both markets, and stands out as its own entity, and feels somewhat fresh and original. September 1999 is perhaps more of a simulator, or even better described as an experience rather than a game, but well worth the 5.5 minutes of your time. It's by far the creepiest game on today's list. This one is definitely not for younger gamers. It's not that the game is particularly explicit in its gore, you will see far more blood and guts in mainstream titles. Instead, September 1999 has a strange quality about it that attempts to unnerve the player, and the real menace of this one lasts long after the 5.5 minutes of the runtime. It's a game that will have you thinking about what you just saw. The real horror from this one comes from piecing the information together. I dare you to play this one in the dark with your headphones turned up if you want a genuinely unsettling experience. So, there you have it. 5 free-to-play horror games for you to enjoy this Halloween. I've added all the relevant links in the description below. Which will you be trying as the nights draw in, and do you have any recommendations of your own? What are the scary hidden gems that we should be playing this Halloween? Until next time, happy gaming and happy hauntings. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!